in the industry. The financial compensation to me it comes in the long run, and I'm not. It's more that I want to make sure that people that may have test phobia, like I did, or have questions, or just need some extra practice with people that understand it's not just a term on a flashcard. There is actually more understanding to it. They're just happy to help.
That's your passion for the industry, and
That's
your
right.
interest in a legacy, and the fact that you're just a nice person.
Well,
I'm sure.
that's what they say.
So that's important. That's where you get your clients. Okay, speaking of that, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit more then when you get the certification, because you're the one who has the certification that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Are there others out there in the industry besides the CMP?
Oh, sure, absolutely. There are CASE, which is the association relevant certification. There is CSEP, which is Certified Special Event Professional. There is, oh my goodness, see,
That's okay, because
There's a
students
bunch.
are actually doing research on this.
Okay.
And so the point that I was wanting you to make is that there are more certifications
Absolutely.
out there, and you need to figure out what's best for you and what the industry is looking for. That's because I have the Certified Shopping Center Management designation through ICSE, and all my history's in that area. So it was the equivalent of what you're talking about for your level of professionalism in specifically events and conferences.
Well, and locally too, there's CTA, which is a Certified Tourism Ambassador. It's offered through the Spokane's CVB, and it's open to anybody, mostly frontline employees. So for folks coming in for our meetings and events, we have a certain team of CTA certified staff that would act as our step-on guides on a coach or help assist with special events in the area, because they know when guests come up and ask questions, those are folks that are certified, that have knowledge of the area.
Good point. And one of the things we've done is we focused on industry certification. So let's talk a little bit about the associations locally and the networking that students might not know about.
Absolutely. Here in the area, there are two organizations that have very strong chapter involvement that are also national associations. MPI, Meeting Planners International, has the Washington State chapter. They have an Oregon chapter. And then those of us that are in Idaho, the Washington chapter takes us under their wing. So they have events, I believe they're every other month. They may be monthly now, so don't quote me if I'm wrong, you guys. But they also have an annual summit called Cascadia, and that's in Tacoma in March this year. And it's a multiple-day educational program for people in the industry. And then the other group is PCMA. They have a Washington State, or a Pacific Northwest chapter that's Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. And they are very much education driven for the meetings industry. So MPI tends to be more network and some education thrown in, and PCMA is kind of the opposite.
So those are other areas of potential finding out about clients, or finding out about jobs, or
Absolutely.
meeting people of influence.
Absolutely. And I believe the Pacific Northwest chapter of PCMA is working on a student chapter.
Excellent.
So that would be another opportunity.
Very good. Okay. Well, talking about that, I know that you've had some experience with Apex, and the students have run across some of this in their research. Could you talk more about Apex and the standardization of forms and your involvement? Because I think there's a link there.
Okay, absolutely. Apex is a very deep interest for me, because there are so many in the hotel industry. As I've told you my experience and where I traveled to and from, every hotel had different forms. Well, now I'm on the planning side. Every client has different forms. All the spec sheets and whatnot. It's a good portion of our job is taking all these different data streams and putting them into our form, and then send them to a hotel who then puts them in their form. And so really the work panel, the resumes and work orders panel, is the part of Apex that I actually served on, is trying to find a way to streamline that and really make it more of a template that's available, where if everybody goes to the Apex site, they can download the form.
Some standardization.
Oh yeah, and then really the economy of that for time savings, which everybody's trying to do more with less now. So the ability to not have to have 20 or 30% of your time reading and understanding somebody's form of what does that mean, and will that go over here now, will that go to this person, and really the distribution of the information from there.
Yes, one of the things I think the students are finding out is in their own research is the overwhelming amount of differences between everything from agendas to RFPs. Speaking of RFPs, can you talk a little bit about what that is? Because we throw that around, like, everybody knows what an RFP is.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And there's so many different alphabet soups for that as well. Yes. I've had one that was sent to me this last week. It was an RFQQ, which is request for qualifications and quotation, which is more of a procurement term than RFP. So it's all, again, standardization. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? What are they looking for? Right. RFP is request for proposal. And really, as a planner, it's our way to say, high venues, high hotels, high destinations, we're interested in learning more information on the following pieces, and you put in your information, and then it kind of defines the playing field as far as we need to be there in March, and it needs to be a Wednesday through Sunday, and we need to make sure the rate is under $200, and we need the airlift to be, maximum of 2 stops from any destination or from any departure city, and the infrastructure, if there are reasons that you would need multiple hotels within 2-block walk of the convention center and whatnot. It minimizes the number of phone calls a planner will get from whether it's convention bureaus or hotels, all asking the same question. It also helps eliminate redundancy of people responding that maybe don't meet all the criteria. So it really is just a nice intro to, hi, here's what we're looking for, here's our expectation, here's the deadline, which is always nice. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't, and then it kind of makes it a level spot.
So it standardizes the specifications, and it allows consistent bidding from various vendors.
That's correct.
So that's the purpose of that. Thank you very much for that explanation.
Yeah.
So we don't keep you here all day. Tell us what you like best about your career.
Remember I said nothing was ever the same. I love the fact that I have repetitive tasks, because if I am every day is exactly different, I don't function as well, because I tend to like to learn so much about each one of those. So repetitive tasks, whether it's budgeting, production and audiovisual, working on scripting or whatnot for things, but they're never the same. So you may be doing different tasks, but the functionality within them, each group is different, and each venue is different. So it gives me enough of the variety where it's not the same thing every day, but it's not complete change. Within a framework. Points for using the company name. And, it's just, everybody is usually excited to travel. Even if it's just across town to a meeting, people look forward to that sense of fellowship that comes from the meeting and event industry, whether they're the attendee or the people working them. And so that level of energy is hard to find in other industries I've tried. But I didn't try for long.
Understand. Well, and I admire you, because I also have gone from a large corporate position to an entrepreneurial position. I'm owning my own company, and I know a little bit about what you've been going through, so I'm empathetic and supportive. So could you talk a little bit about that, as a small business owner?
The transition of that?
Yeah, and the realities.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as Scott may have said in his interview, or will if this is before his, that adjustment, the financial adjustment, was the hardest part. The ability to have the decision-making start and end with us is powerful. So I look at it as a trade-off. My lifestyle is pretty similar. I thought I'd work less hours. Small business, you're not working less hours. But most of the time, I pick the hours. So it's, if I have a basketball game of my son's to get to, or a school program for my other son, or I'm traveling for 3 days to a conference, I'm going to come back and take Tuesday off, we have that ability. But for the part that moves me the most is the creative, is really being able to go, yeah, we could do that, and then hang up the phone or get off the computer from the client, disconnect from the client, and go, how are we going to do that? And we push back, and we sometimes it's red wine, sometimes it's coffee, but we end up with some really good brainstorming sessions because we don't have to ask anybody except the client for permission. So that's really fun.
So to wrap up, if you were going to give any advice or insights to the students in the class, what might that be?
Go to meetings. Pay attention not necessarily as every attendee, but look at the little things that happen. See what works and see what doesn't. Offer to volunteer at meetings, because seeing some of those behind the scenes things will get that extra, the street smarts, as we would call it, because book smart is good. You can read all the event planning and meeting planning textbooks in the world, but when the rubber hits the road, what does it look like? What does it smell? The bar have been on the other side of the room because we have congestion. You don't see those unless you're visually watching the psychology and sociology of how people behave when they get to the meetings, and what should be is oftentimes not what we think.
Excellent. So this is the point where you tell us how to contact your company and your website and your phone number.
See, this is, so everybody get paper. So my email is Wendi, WENDI, at frameworkmeetings.com. So framework is singular, meetings is plural.com. You can also find me on Twitter, and that's at frameworkmtgs. We're on Facebook, you can find us there. We're on LinkedIn, you can find us there as well. And then the website is www.frameworkmeetings.com.